Hey, and welcome back to another video with me, Anonymous. Right, I want to just share a nice story for a change that is a little bit positive and upbuilding. Oh, those wonderful words that we're so used to. Yes, may we always. Oh, no, I won't go there. But anyways, this is a nice story that happened to me this week that caused me a lot of relief and gave me a lot of hope as well, which I was not expecting. Okay, so long story short, the brother that I've mentioned before in various videos, he's a very nice guy and he's always been a nice friend to me. He's like in his 50s and it was my fault that he became a Jehovah's Witness in the first place because, again, long story, painful. His dad used to be a Jehovah's Witness and he was an elder and very well known and respected in our circuit back in the day, and he died. And this particular brother sort of faded away sort of naturally when he was a teenager because his dad, has passed away. And probably about 5 years ago or something, me and another brother found him, and I didn't know who the hell he was, but this older brother did, and he was like, "Oh, I used to know your dad, blah, blah, blah. Have you thought about having a Bible study?" And in the end, me and this brother kind of studied with this guy, and because the guy that was on the study with me, he was a bit useless, honestly. So I actually was more influential into bringing this new guy back into the truth, as it were. And he got baptized, and for a short time I studied with his small daughter as well. Anyways, he was the only one in the congregation that ever bothered to text me or to give me a call or just to ask if I was okay and that I wasn't sick or dying or something, if I wasn't at the Kinham Hall. And even when I was disfellowshipped, he gave me a text a few times just to make sure that I was okay, or to say it was really nice to see you today, or blah, blah, blah. And so, I've always had a good, amount of respect for him. And he always gave me, like a wink and a smile when he saw me at the Kinham Hall, or hold the door open for me or whatever. And I'd return the favour. So anyways, because I sort of faded since I was reinstated, that's another long story. But he's obviously noticed that I'm not at the Kinham Hall anymore. And so I knew that sooner or later he's going to give me that text to say, "Where have you been? Are you okay? When are you going to come back?" But he doesn't know that I'm no longer a witness. He doesn't know that I don't want to go back ever. And he also doesn't know that I've moved far away from my original area and congregation, so that I never go back there again. And it's unlikely whether I'll even see him again, which is kind of sad. I mean, maybe I'll go back or something. So anyways, he sent me a text, the one I've been dreading. And it was something simple like, "I haven't seen you at the meetings for quite a while. Are you okay? Give me a chat or whatever, or call or text or whatever when you feel like it." So I left it for about a week or just under a week. And then I finally got the courage to text him back. And it took an awful lot of planning and thought about what I was going to say. Because like a lot of people who are now ex-witnesses, I am trying to fade. Which, if you are new to this video and you don't really get what these words mean, fading is when you try to leave the religion of Jehovah's Witnesses unofficially. So basically, you just stop interacting with them. You don't go to meetings anymore. You don't go on the ministry, obviously, anymore. You try not to talk to anybody who's a witness if they ask you questions, or they come to your house, or your parents are witnesses and they try to ask you. You sort of dodge the questions, Matrix style, and hope and pray to whoever, whatever you believe in now, that they won't sort of find something against you to pull you into that dreaded hall and in that dreaded room with those dreaded three elders and then disfellowship you. And the reason that some of us choose to do this instead of just giving them that, and just walking out, is because some of us have family and friends or spouses or children or whoever who are still witnesses, who we know, sadly, as unbelievable as it seems, will shun us if we just come outright and say we're no longer a witness anymore. They don't have sort of a grey area. There is no man's land if you want to leave. Either you're on their side or you're the enemy. There's no in between. So for those of us who fade, we just want to at least come across as a witness who just is too sick or depressed or busy to come to meetings. So we're just being bad witnesses right now. And then hopefully they forget us and we can move, or they lose track or something, and we can be free without being disfellowshipped. So anyway, I was afraid to talk to this particular brother about what was going on with me, because I knew that the rule is if they hear that a witness has left and is basically committing mutiny and is betraying the organization and God, they are supposed to tell the elders, who will then get in touch with you, and there you are in that dreaded room, and then you get disfellowshipped, which is not the aim if you want to fade. So I was a bit scared about confessing everything just, sort of straightforwardly to him in that way. So I began by sort of texting him a few things in the media. I just said that I was very concerned with some things that were going on relating to the organization. I just pretended to play it cool. And when I mentioned the sex abuse thing, firstly, I sent him a few newspaper articles that I had found, sort of behaving like innocently, like, oh my God, look what I found on the news. And then he sort of said, firstly, do you believe the articles? And I thought, oh God, here we go. Down the dangerous route of, it's all a lie and a conspiracy. But actually, he said to me, surprisingly, that back when his dad was alive, that was like in the 80s and 90s kind of thing, that he had actually argued with his dad back then about this policy of when there's a sexual assault or a rape or something like that, of that nature, that it should be dealt with in-house and not reported to social services and the police and that kind of thing. And I don't know what the case was that he was arguing about, or whether this was prevalent back in the 80s or something as it is now, but he got into that argument with his dad, who was an elder, and obviously disagreed with him and basically said, well, this is how we deal with it as Jehovah's Witnesses, which is wrong. And it has never sat well with that brother now. Let's call him John. It's never sat well with John that his dad said this. So when I showed him these articles, he actually said that he's shocked that this kind of thing is still going on. And in fact, it seems even worse than before. And he can't believe that the thing in Australia is just finished and it has been going on for years. And then I sent him stuff about the United Nations as well. And I finally, after realizing the conversation was going well, and he hadn't blocked me or cut me off or told me that I'm a betrayer or that I'm dangerous or whatever, I decided to give him a call for two reasons. One, if you text somebody who you want to convince that this is all, what it is, sometimes your tone of voice in your head does not come out the way you intend when you text somebody. And if someone is already sort of set up in a way that they will perceive you as hostile or crazy or brainwashed or you're evil and you're an apostate, and you text things to them, they're going to read it through that veil already that they've got set up. So they're going to read your words and interpret them not the way that you intend, and they could reject you off that. But sometimes when you call somebody or you talk to somebody face to face, they can hear your voice, and if you come across as sincere, as rational, as very serious, and also as maybe even disappointed in the organization, this is genuine. This isn't we hate Jehovah's Witnesses and we want to kill everyone and burn down the watchtower. This is more like, hey, this is a reality. This was my life, as it has been for many people, and you, whoever you're talking to. And I found out these things, and I'm very disappointed, and I can't believe that this is true, but sadly it is. And it pains me, but I have to admit that this organization is fake. And sometimes when you say things like that, it strikes more of a chord than if you say, oh, it's all a lie and I've wasted my life and I just want to go and do things now and I'm going to get a tattoo now and fuck the organization kind of thing. So that sometimes doesn't work, that approach. It just offends them and puts up the wall, So anyways, with this guy, I tried that approach. I just gave him a call, and in the end I was brave enough to confess, look, I mean, obviously, after all these articles that I've shown you and the things that I've learned, it won't shock you to know that I'm not coming back, that it's a hard decision to make, I mean, he knows me very well and how zealous I used to be on the ministry and everything, and I brought him into the organization, so he knows me. And for me to read these things and to realize that this is a false organization that is really bad, it's damaging, it's doing terrible and evil things, and saying Jehovah approves or whatever, and I can't be in this anymore, I have to leave, it's a big deal, And this guy, I was waiting, sort of on tenterhooks for him to reply and to speak to me, and he said that after everything I've told him, he's shocked, but not at me. He was shocked at the things that he had heard and the stuff that he had read in the paper that I sent him. And he actually ended up saying that he was going to have a serious think now about the organisation himself. And I think the fact that he has a young daughter who is not a witness, but, you know, the witnesses will always be trying to get her in, especially if she visits him, you know, he feels like it's his duty to try and bring her in. That now he knows that the halls are crawling with paedophiles, and there is no protection at all for ones who may be vulnerable to that kind of attack, and there is zero protection if you are attacked. You can kiss that goodbye. Once you are attacked or hurt by these people, that's it. You won't get any support, you won't be helped out, you won't be able to go to police or whatever if you obey what the Watchtower is trying to tell you. So I think that has actually had an impact upon him from that point of view as well. But I thought he was amazing. Even when I hung up, I just was so relieved, and I actually had a little cry for a few seconds because I'm tough. Because I just was so relieved that he didn't block me or hang up or tell me that I was evil or stupid and that he was never going to talk to me again, which is sadly a common response from Jehovah's Witnesses, because even my own mother has gone that route. When I bring up stuff in the news, her response is, I don't want to hear that, or I don't want to see that, or I've told you before, when you bring up these subjects, I'm not going to listen, I'm going to leave, or I'm going to stop talking to you, or I'm going to hang up, or whatever. And that, you know, a lot of people would say, well, no, your mom is going to be like the last person on earth to ever shun you. Guess again. If my mom thinks that I'm coming between her and God, then there's no contest. God is always going to win, you know, and that's that. I mean, look in the Bible. There are illustrations, or sorry, examples of, you know, faithful friends of God who were about to sacrifice their own children, literally. Was it Abraham and Isaac? Abraham was about to plunge a knife into his son's chest to sacrifice him for God. At the last minute, God caused a ram to be caught in a bush nearby and said, there, sacrifice the ram. Poor ram, but hey, who cares? Hey, Jehovah respects life, but he's fine with you slaughtering animals who are just innocent, minding their own business. That's okay. They're not worth anything. But you understand, if Abraham was about to kill his son for God, then is it really a stretch of the imagination to imagine that Jehovah's Witnesses now, who believe they're this close to the end, that Armageddon is going to happen tomorrow as far as they're concerned, which will be the most terrifying experience ever, and you want to be on, you know, Jehovah's good side when that happens, and that afterwards they have the prospect of everlasting life on a paradise earth with their lion and their vineyard and Michael Jackson and whoever's going to be resurrected. Do you really think that they're going to let you little scumbag, you little Satan's friend, you come between them and that? No. As far as they're concerned, they can have plenty more kids in the new system. You are a bad one. And if you're going to get destroyed by God anyway, what's the point of being friendly with you when they're just going to be sad when you are killed at Armageddon? So you understand that even your own mum and dad will give you, you know, the cold shoulder if you say outright, Mum and Dad, I don't believe in the witnesses anymore. I've read things on the news and I'm disgusted, and I believe that these things are true, so I'm going to leave. But you still love me though, right? Aha! Bye-bye. Your stuff will be handed to you in a bag with, you know, the rest of your crap, and you'll be thrown out. I know of witnesses who were thrown out when they were pre-teens. I know of a witness woman in New York who was thrown out of a family home when she was 14, when she was raped and she got pregnant. And the elders told her father, who was also an elder or a ministerial, I think, that if he wanted to keep his position, he would have to throw his daughter out, because they couldn't let the congregation see she was pregnant, because she's not going to tell them that she was raped, so they would assume that she was immoral. So he had a straight choice. Keep your daughter if you want, but we'll punish you. Or be a good boy and kick her out, and, you know, Jehovah will sort that shit out, but we'll keep you as what you are, with your privileges. Well, guess which one he picked? Yeah, you got it right. He picked his position and he threw his daughter out, because at the end of the day they think, well, if her heart is in the right place, she'll come back, or Jehovah will draw her back, or well, everything happens for a reason, which is what they say they don't believe, but they really do. Because what they're saying is, well, if you leave Jehovah, then whether you come back or not is sort of that it's either going to happen or it ain't. Therefore, there's nothing we can do about it. We shouldn't worry about it. We should just carry on with our struggle. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, what I wanted to say about that was I was very shocked that that brother, when even my own mum responded very negatively and still does. If I send her stuff now, she just ignores it. But if I talk about normal things, she'll respond straight away. But if anything else, it will be on red and then she'll just ignore it. So I was surprised that this brother responded in a good way. There's been a few days now since we had that talk, and I'm wondering if he'll ever have the guts to leave. I'm hoping that he will let me know if he makes a decision either way, and then I know whether, you know, he's out or not. It'll be good to know. But it is kind of cool that the first person I've talked to, other than my mum, about all this stuff has actually responded rather well, which is kind of a miracle, ironically. And then this is very complicated now, but I had a study, kind of. When I was disfellowshipped, there was a little wee man who used to see me walking to and from the Kingdom Hall, and he approached me and he said, "Are you one of those Jehovah's Witnesses?" And I said, "Well, yeah, kind of," because, you know, I was disfellowshipped, but back then I was like, I have to get back in, because otherwise my mom won't talk to me. So I was trying to keep, you know, like a positive attitude. So I said, "What kind of?" "Yeah, I go to the Kingdom Hall." And he said that a few witnesses had actually talked to him that he knows from work or something, and that he tried going to the Kingdom Hall, but it was a horrible experience because nobody sort of explained what the hell was going on. Someone gave him a Bible, but he didn't know how to use it because he never used one before. So when they were talking about scriptures and everyone was obediently, you know, finding the scripture, he hadn't a clue where it was or what he was supposed to do, and he had sort of anxiety and etc, etc. And in the end, he hated it and didn't want to go back. So he started off by sort of challenging me about various Bible things, and I answered them perfectly according to the Watchtower, and he was impressed, as people are when you just answer things with confidence, like, "Yeah, this is what we believe and we have the answers," and they're like, "Wow, tell me more." So anyways, he decided to come to meetings with me for a while, and he liked me very much, ironically, because I didn't take the witnesses seriously. Because sometimes when they were saying things from the platform, I'd be there going, whatever. And he'd be next to me going, "Yeah, that's what I was thinking, yeah." And so we had a weird relationship, and he had a very strange relationship with the witnesses because he sort of went with me because he believed what I was telling him was the truth. But then he was also very cautious about the rest of it and decided that he liked some of it but not the rest. And as I agreed with him, he sort of wanted to learn more but not really commit, which is fine. So when I decided that I was never going back, I had a tricky situation now because I've got this guy who wants to come to meetings, but only with me, thank goodness. So I sort of, you know, skipped town in the middle of the night and never came back. Well, you know, yet. And my study noticed, and he sort of texted me a few times saying, "Where are you? Aren't we going to the meeting this week?" And in the end I would make excuses like, "No, not this week, blah, blah, blah." And in the end, I realised I'd have to tell him because it's fair to him. And this is a complicated, messy situation, and I just want to sort it out. So he's been calling me, and I ignored him. And then yesterday, I called him back because, again, I feel like I need to get the guts to talk about this stuff. And it's dangerous because he's in touch with other witnesses still in that area who obviously know him. And the problem is, I've said to him, just when they talk to you, if they ask questions about me, just do me a favour and just, you know, tell them to mind their own beeswax kind of thing. And at the beginning he was like, "No, they're not going to ask questions, why would they?" Next thing you know, they're all asking him questions about me. Where am I? You know, how come that me and him go together? And one sister actually asked him, "What is she to you?" Now bear in mind, this guy is about 4 foot high, he's got to be in his late 50s, and he smokes like a chimney, and he's just not my type. Let's put it that way. And yet this sister has the nerve and the dirty mind to say, "What are you together?" As if she wants him to say, "Yeah, we're dating and having sex, and now, oh, I thought so, now I can get her disfellowship." You know, this is the way they think. So when she started asking those questions and other people were asking him questions as well, he suddenly realised that what I was saying was true, that they really do try to find out where you are and ask you all these invasive questions. So the best thing to do is not to answer and tell them to, piss off, kind of thing, which he did. And he's been sort of warning me. So when I gave him a call yesterday, I was a little bit scared that if I mentioned something like I'm no longer a witness, and he won't care, so it won't be like he's going to run off and tell the elders deliberately. But if one of those other witness people talk to him, it only takes a slip of the tongue and it comes out, and then I have a problem. So in the end, it's really about trust and whatever. And so I sort of told him in the end, like, the stuff I had found out, and that I wasn't going to go back to meetings. Excuse me again. And he thankfully said, that neither is he then, and he's going to do some research, blah, blah, blah. So in the end, by the end of the day, I had 2 people, sort of in the same couple of days anyway, that I managed to tell that I wasn't a witness anymore, and who both responded well so far. So I just want to make this short video just to, I don't want to say encourage, because it's one of those Jehovah's Witness buzzwords that we all hate, like stumble and imperfect and worldly. We all hate those blinking words. But I'm trying to say in the most unironic way here, I do want to encourage those of you who are trying to convince their family, their friends, their mums and dads, their spouses, their kids, anybody that they care about, or at least just want to prove wrong, that the organisation is bad. And I just want to let them know that, wow, sometimes, yeah, they will react in a good way, but you do have to choose your moment, and you do have to prepare what you want to tell them, and be careful of how you say things, and just try and keep in mind the reaction that could happen if things go badly, or you come across as aggressive or bitter or whatever. Just try and, be savvy and see how it goes. So yeah, anyways, I would really, as I've said before, I would really like to see in the comments, if it's okay, from people watching, any stories at all, any success stories, any semi-success stories, any quasi-success stories, and so forth, of people who have tried to de-witness to Jehovah's Witnesses and actually had a positive response in any way, so good that you could even count your time in negatives. It'd be nice to know if people have in fact witnessed to their friends or family and managed to get them out, or at least get them to listen and not go and run off and tell the elders, because it's encouraging to know that it is possible and that people aren't all insane, which sometimes we fear they are, the ones who are still witnesses. So yeah, if people have these experiences, please put them in the comments. Thanks again to everyone who's watched and who's watching now. Thank you so much to everyone who's followed me on Twitter. I'm on there as Anonymouse, same as the YouTube handle. And I'm on there publishing funny pictures. I'm trying to start a new thing, a thread, called My Book of Horrible Stories. Because that book was an absolute nightmare to me as a kid, as it has been to many people. The illustrations in there are horrifying, and the stories are worse. The one about Dinah is probably my most hated story of all of them, except for maybe the gang rape of the concubine and the time that Lot's daughters banged him in the nights. Those 3 are probably my top most hated stories. But yeah, some of the pictures and illustrations are quite funny if you interpret them that way, and I'm just whacking them up on Twitter, and people are having a laugh, and I'm trying to, get people to think about things. So whatever, and we can all relate to that book, so it may be worth a look. So yeah, check me out on Twitter, check out the ex-witness groups on Facebook. I find them very helpful. There is No Nonsense Ex-Jehovah's Witnesses or something. There is Ex-Jehovah's Witness recovery groups. There is an Irish community group on there if you are in fact from Era. There are groups for all sorts of things and whatever. So if you're an ex-witness and you're looking to reach out to people, go on Facebook and put into groups ex-Jehovah's Witness, and boom, a lot of them will come up. Yeah, and be careful if you're in a group, maybe not to put too much about your personal life in there, because sadly there are real witnesses who come into these groups as spies or just a troll or whatever, so just keep that in mind. So thanks to everybody, and keep on watching, keep subscribing, and keep on commenting, because I love those the best. And Make your own videos too if you want to. It's not hard. Phone, face or voice or whatever, mascot, cartoon or whatever you want to do, and just record and then upload it to YouTube. So do that. So thanks for watching and peace out.